Welcome to the Found Her podcast.
We are two women who knew nothing about starting a business, but with our faith and a lot of determination, we founded our company that has grown to over 7 figures in just 3 years.
We're sharing all that we've learned, our secrets to building a brand and a long-lasting foundation to gain time and financial freedom.
We're both moms to 4 kiddos, and through the peaks and valleys of being a business owner, we're finding our true purpose, and it's more than we ever imagined.
So join us as we get real and have some fun along the way.
All right.
Okay. Welcome back, Dee Dee.
Hi.
Hello. How's it been going?
Everybody. It's good. It's good. How about you? It's school vacation week.
Almost.
Almost?
Yeah, we're at the, oh yeah, it is school oh my gosh, I don't know. We just work and wake up and go to sleep and.
I did see this reel. I don't know what to call them in this video. And it was this guy and he was like getting home and he was so excited.
Yeah.
He's like, I just quit my 9 to 5 and like jumped in his bed.
Yeah.
And then he jumped back up and walked back out of his house to say, it says to work 24/7. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
That is 1,000%.
That is it.
The life of an entrepreneur.
I'm
You
gonna
quit your 9 to
working.
5 to just work 24/7, right?
Right.
So that's why I was like, oh, it's school vacation week? Oh,
What day is it
right.
today?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
My little guy
crazy.
took his first solo flight.
Aren't you proud?
I'm so proud.
I mean, if you're a Rita, you're a traveler. So
He is a traveler, and he didn't even really say goodbye to me. The flight attendant came to get him to put him on the plane, and he started just walking away. And I was like, buddy, you're gonna say goodbye to me? He was like, oh yeah, bye. Totally could not have cared less. Was just so excited. He's going with his grandparents to Florida.
That's awesome.
And I'm super psyched for him and his little cousin, and he's gonna have a blast. It's
Yeah.
so much more fun than being stuck up here in the cold and the rain.
with all of his
And
sisters.
I know. So now we also can do girly things. So
Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, we're gonna go shopping for some makeup. So fun. And I know they want to go shopping anyway, but most importantly, we have to look for a prom dress. And I feel like I'm really late to the game. I feel like she's one of the last ones. I mean, she has still a couple months, but everybody is
It's next month. Promise.
okay.
Next
Okay,
month.
fine. That's a month and a half away. That feels like plenty of time still. But anyway, because everybody's posting their dresses on the Instagram
I
page.
know. I can't even believe that. but
Anyway,
that's
so we have to get a dress this week. It's the number one
Yes,
priority. We're
you
getting a
have to.
dress. And then she wants to get her nails done because we're going to go to Phoenix and do a college tour or 2 and stay with my sister.
I have heart palpitations
I know.
for you. I just can't even
I
believe
know.
it. You just showed a picture yesterday of your kids sitting out on the porch. And
know.
I don't know why particularly Avery stuck out to me because I'm looking at her in that picture.
I know.
And you're going prom dress shopping and touring colleges.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Gosh, where does the time go?
Do you also know that I think Hadley is taller than me? My 12-year-old?
What? Really? That's
What do you mean, why? Why?
No, did I say why? I mean,
Why?
I meant to say what? I can see that though. She's very tall.
Yeah.
She's very tall. I can wear my 8-year-old shoes. Mm-hmm. Yep, we wear the same size shoe.
Well, that's because you have tiny little ballerina feet. But this is a fun topic that we're going to talk about today that I do think it really hits home for us super close right now because we're going through some growth stresses, decisions,
strategy, thoughts.
It doesn't have to. I'm feeling. I said stress, but it doesn't have to be that way. But how we're going to talk a little bit about how do you know when you're making the right move? And I think obviously it hits home for entrepreneurs, right? Because we talked a little bit last time, risk reward. How do you know when to take the risk? Is your risk going to pay off? Is it worth it? Mm-hmm. How do you know when to take those chances, when not to? But then I also think it totally plays into life decisions.
Yeah.
Taking risks, being bold, all that good stuff. And how do you know when you're making the right decision? It's really scary.
You want me to answer how I make big decisions?
Sure. I know what you're going to say.
It's very
Makes me angry.
It's very well thought out, and it's a very expensive process. You get a coin, and you say option A is heads, option B is tails, and you flip it.
Absolutely not.
And whatever it lands. Well, this is how I know. So you think I'm going to go with whatever the coin does. I'm not. Mm-hmm. Deep down, in my head, I'm wishing heads or tails based on the option. And so if the coin lands on the one I want it to, I feel confident. I feel good. My gut's right. If it lands opposite and I'm like, no. Again, my gut is right. I'm going to do the thing that's on my heart and on my mind. That's how I use a coin flip, because it makes me realize what I want.
Okay. Makes you realize what you want. You don't know what you want.
What about if I don't? What about if I can't decide between two things?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I will have disappointment if it goes in the direction I don't want it to go in.
Oh, you're saying it sheds light on what your true feelings.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, oh shoot, I actually really did that one. I wanted that because I feel disappointed right now.
And so that's now it validates my decision.
Oh, it's like when you let somebody go and you realize you miss them.
No, but that's okay. I don't miss. I don't know.
No, bad analogy.
I don't usually really good at them, but that's not good.
No, it is.
It just when you like if you're looking, and I'm just gonna use ice cream because it's just easy.
Okay.
If I want vanilla ice cream, that is heads. If I want chocolate ice cream, that is tails. And if I flip it and I get heads, I'm like, yeah, knew it. That's what I want. I wanted vanilla ice cream. Cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. Make the decision. Don't think about it. But if I flip it and I got tails, I'm like, oh man, chocolate. I really wanted vanilla. Well, then go with the freaking vanilla. Why are you worried about it? Go with that guy because you already knew it. It's not that I'm going to say, well, the coin told me tails and I'm going chocolate ice cream. No, it made me realize that if I don't feel good about that coin flip, then I'm walking in that direction with confidence.
Yeah.
Oh, was that a little ding dong?
No,
Oh,
no. I don't know how to silence. I don't know how to silence my laptop. We're
going to have laptop 101 training.
So our business has some pretty big decisions, and yes and no. Like we've always known for a very long time that down the road at some point we don't want to rent forever. Like I'm not. These are things that we've talked about from the very beginning of the growth of our business, that nobody really wants to throw away rent. Nobody wants to rent an apartment forever. Everybody wants to be a homeowner. Same thing goes with business. Like you don't love throwing rent out the window, and eventually, but it was always just like a pipe dream. And only recently have we started really putting some more thought and strategy into, like, if we really wanted this to happen, what steps do we have to have in place, and what should we have lined up ahead of wanting to attain that goal. Anybody can't just be like, oh, I want to buy a house tomorrow.
Yeah,
you've got to plan, right? And have some strategy and planning and long-term goals to be able to make something like that happen. It doesn't just show up, right?
Right.
So we've been putting some strategy and thought around all of that, but how will we know when it's the right time?
Because it just happens. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I
think,
but I mean, we're not flipping a coin over.
I may or may not have flipped coins.
Something like that. But
when you asked me my opinion, I could have flipped a coin.
Oh my gosh. Obviously, you're going to plan, but when it ultimately comes down to it, how do you know that your business is in, a financially stable place to take the leap, that you are structurally set up to take a leap? Like, how do you really know? Or do you ever? Maybe you don't.
That's a risk assessment.
Right? Like, how do you know it's going to be okay?
Yeah, I don't know. This is something when we talk about a lot before we make. My dad always said this when I was growing up. This is like my lifelong lesson. It's not the decision that you make. It's how you make it.
Ooh. I love that, but speak more.
Well, that's what he taught me. So
what does it mean?
Don't just quickly, you got to think about it, right? Think about what, if you have to decide between something, weigh it, pros and cons on both sides, and think about what are the consequences if you take either action, right? Are there consequences?
Right.
If there
what's the worst that's going to happen
right?
if I choose this way, or what's the worst that's going to happen if I don't?
Exactly.
And which one has less consequences? Do that one.
Yeah. Right. Well, sometimes. But it's really about just slowing down and not just making rash decisions without any thought processes to the why. You got to think about it, right? And so,
right.
And a lot of times too, especially now, being a business owner, you could be financially responsible for your family. You can't just make a quick decision because that's what you want. It might not be what you need right now. That's another thing. My Nana used to make me do this because I love to shop. I'm not sure if you know this. I love it. And she would make me be like, is this on your wish list, your want list, or your need list? Is this something that you're wishing for? You just wish you had it?
Yeah.
You want it right now? Or is this something that you absolutely need? Like there would be days she'd pick me up and she would say, today's a need list only day. And I'd be so disappointed. I'm like, really? That means I couldn't get anything fun in my head.
Oh.
But yeah. And then she would like surprise me with something. But she would always ask me if there was something. She's like, is this a wish, a need, or a want?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like
I've been doing that lately with my kids, and I'll just say not right now.
Right. Not
like
right
whenever
now.
they want something. Nah, not right now.
Right. Like, do we need
Not
a second,
never.
Do we need a second van because we go in multiple directions? No, we don't need it. Do we want it? Sure, that would make life a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
Right, because saying no to some things sets you up for your ultimate, what you really want to do.
Right.
Like if family's saving for vacation, you're saving for whatever. Like, I'm going to say no to going out to dinner this weekend because I really want to go to whatever, Turks and Caicos.
Right, but like a lot of your no's could lead to that yes.
Right. So we obviously talk a lot about our faith here, and obviously that plays a huge part in making decisions. I mean, I feel like step one, automatically, we're going to start praying about whatever it is.
Pray about it.
Right?
That's
We're
what you
going to
do.
pray about it. But then how do you know, and this gets like really tricky, and I don't mean to make it complex, but like, how do you know when you're hearing an answer? Or what if you feel like I've been praying about it and I still don't know what to do, and
I can't hear him.
right? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Is it a,
Yeah.
so how do you like take that one step further? Like, okay, I've prayed about it. I still don't know what to do.
Uh-huh.
How do you like break that down?
Oh.
Well, I mean,
that's hard.
well, for me, signs have always been like a huge thing for me, because especially when I became really like a single parent and like really in charge by myself, like I got much more fearful to make wrong decisions. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I was on my own. Like I became more afraid of doing something wrong or making, because I was, financially, head of household, and it made me more afraid to take risk, I think, when it was like totally up to me. But I definitely needed like these signs to happen or things to line up in a certain way that was like, that is not a coincidence. Like the things, and you have to look for those things too, because if you don't look for the signs, you're never going to see them, or you're just going to be like, oh, that was a weird coincidence, and you'll never think twice about it,
No
ever.
such thing as coincidence.
Right? Not a coincidence.
No
Because if you really think about things that happen like that, you're like, okay, well, wait a minute. For that to happen, this had to line up with this, and then this person had to do, like, if, you can take the whole timeline of how things happen, and you're like, wait a minute. There's no way that all just happened by accident.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
But even from when we were back in like the tiny store, like we both needed signs to quit our jobs. We both needed signs to start this business. We both needed signs to take the jump from a small rental to a larger rental.
Oh, I remember that. Ooh.
I feel like jumping from now renting to owning, give me all the signs. Give me
help. I'm
Right?
waving the flag. I need help.
we're gonna absolutely need all the signs, because you're taking now a bigger leap of faith, a bigger risk. There's a lot more riding on it.
And it's way more expensive.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Our own families are riding on this. We're trying to be financially responsible for not just ourselves and our business, but our families, of course, and their future and our kids' futures, like all of this. So,
And our team and their families. Yeah, there's a lot
riding on it. So I'm like, we're definitely going to need all the prayers, all the signs. And along with the signs for me is timing. Kind of going back to like no accidents. The timing has to be not by accident. Kind of goes along with the sign part of it, I think, hand in hand. But
yeah, I think one thing for myself, I actually just gave my friend this bookmark, and I forget the verse, but it's like, don't worry about anything, but pray about everything. Yeah. You know me, I always mess things up.
No, that was
I
a good
always
one.
say it. But
that was pretty close.
but I don't know. I'm a changed person probably in the past 3.5, 4 years. I used to get so stressed out, like, oh my gosh, well, what about if this doesn't happen? What about if I do that? And I need to make sure I do blah, 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 blah,
Like
blah.
a worst case scenario type of thinking.
Or also like plan A, B. I need to have plan through A through F lined up. And then also like, well, what about if this doesn't happen? What about if this? And then what am I going to do? And how am I going to do this? And like my mind wouldn't quit. Do I have a little bit of that now? Sure. Like it's human nature. But I literally just go with it. Like it's already planned out. I'm just walking the walk.
Yeah, and I can say the same thing for me. And it's when something tragic, this is my theory, something tragic happens in your life that's 1,000% out of your control and it happened anyway, you realize, what am I hanging on so tightly for? I couldn't control it anyway. Like your mom passing away probably changed you a lot because you couldn't stop that from happening. You couldn't change the outcome. The same thing for me. I could not physically change the outcome of what was coming. You know, with my divorce, it was out of my control.
Yeah.
So you realize that as much as you want to line up all your ducks and you want to have everything planned A, B, C, it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, and you still do.
I'm not saying
You
not to plan for that. I'm not saying
you
not
still
to plan
do
for
that
life,
stuff, right? You still do all that stuff, but it just is.
Yeah.
It's different. I feel like it's a sense of peace that is just you can't describe it, but when you get it, you know, whatever you're doing is right.
Going back to verses, I do think it's the peace that passes all understanding. Like it doesn't make sense. I wrote down like logistics because you know me, I'm like the logistics queen over here. Like I
love when you say that, but like you are, but you aren't though. It's so funny when you say this.
Well, I like to know how things work, but this is kind of where the paradox is, because if you try to make everything make sense, right, and line up everything, and it doesn't, when you step out on a leap of faith and you do something bold and out of your comfort zone, it doesn't all make sense in your head, and you have to let go of like the timing and let go of things, because even maybe financially you can say, I could never afford a building because I don't have X amount in the bank or this X amount of down payment, or my business can never I don't know, whatever. You could talk yourself out of a million things because maybe it doesn't make sense or make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy
right
to buy anything. But I don't know. It's like getting out of your comfort zone, but having that peace regardless of what should be the natural feeling.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. All that's in my head is the crate and barrel.
What?
Floral arrangement, the logistics conversation.
Well, how are you going to get it? When are you going to get it? Like,
did I tell the story?
You did already tell the story, yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
Here.
Yeah. Good thing you're here to remind me. I've already talked about it.
I know. I know.
But that's what it comes back to.
Can you think of like a recent, not to put you on the spot, but can you think of a recent decision that like you prayed about, you made a decision about, and you feel a real peace about? Oh, actually, I can think of an example. We'll say the same thing. Go ahead. School. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I wasn't, when I asked the question, I wasn't thinking of that answer, but that literally just happened this week. That maybe, I'm not speaking for you, but maybe financially it doesn't make sense. Logistically it doesn't make sense.
No. All the ways it really does make sense.
All the ways. It's not the easy route. It's not the cheap route. It's not the quick route. Like, But
it's what we want, and we feel so good about it. And now we just got to pray that it all walks in that direction.
So just back up for 2 seconds, that you toured a private school recently.
Yeah, we're looking at a school for our kids to go to, and it's a 30-minute drive both directions, which is a lot. It is a different school time, which is okay. And it's not closer towards where my husband and I work. It's actually in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So it
doesn't make sense.
It adds a little bit of complexity, but it's something that I feel like is really important for my kids and just seeing some of their needs. And so we've been looking for a while, and we've looked at a lot of schools, and nothing's right. My husband and I, for us to make this move, I needed to have that peace about it when I walked in, and we went and toured on Wednesday, and I could not wipe the smile off my face. I felt so good about it.
Yeah. And another sign that you were looking for is that you and your husband would be totally aligned together, and right away
we both liked it a lot.
he liked it too. So that would be a sign, like, right, if
it required no conversation. Like we walked out of there was no conversation about it. I mean, we weighed like, okay, this could be a complexity. What do we do? This could be tough. Like we got to talk to my dad to help us with a drive for 2 days a week, right? Like we had to talk about a couple of those things, but like I didn't walk out of there with like, oh, I don't know about that, or oh, this I'm a little bit concerned. I walked out and I was like, where do I sign?
Oh gosh.
Where do I sign? What do you need from me? Want my kidneys? What do you need? I'm ready.
Right? Oh my gosh.
But again, it comes back to this insane amount of peace that you just feel. You can't describe it. That's the Holy Spirit.
It is.
It is.
It's you. Yeah. But we shared some of those stories, like the early days when, like, how did we even know to rent our first space? Right? Like, because we showed up and the guy was like, actually, it's open next week. I'm like, what? What do you mean it's like, he's like, yeah, they're moving out and I don't have a renter yet.
You want it?
I was like, literally, of all the days that we came here that like it's suddenly just available today or whatever. I mean, that's like a really obvious one, but
even that happened when we went to the building that we're in now. We went over, like we were going to ask, of course we were like, oh, well, maybe they'll be retiring soon. I don't know. Let's go check. Let's get their perspective. And their perspective was buy something. Don't rent. Buy something. And we're like, well, we're not prepared to do that.
Well, we
can't do that.
We can barely make rent.
And so we went over there and we talked to them. And literally 1 week later, they announced that they were retiring, closing the business. And then people backed out of that building knowing that we were interested in it. Like, oh no,
all of the signs. Signs. And so all of that helps you build confidence with the big decisions that you're making.
Right.
Do you have any, like, besides like a pro and con list, do you have any other tools that you use to like help you? Okay. And besides a coin.
I was going to say, well, actually you're missing my coin.
But, yeah, I don't know. Anything else? I mean, obviously pros and con list is like the most obvious one, but anything else that like helps you make decisions?
I mean, I talk to my husband about every decision I make. But it's, to me,
I think talking it out though is
talking it out is one, because it's sometimes
you need another perspective.
Yeah, because and also if you're
sometimes you just want to see what you want to see.
Yeah,
and you want to. I mean,
you don't want to hear what other people have to say.
I'm the master spinner
master spinner,
right? Like I'll spin an argument to make my case, right? However I want that to be, and I'll convince you that this is a great decision because I'm good at that. I'm good at like getting you to be on my side, but I don't
be so confident. I'm just kidding.
But you don't want that when you're really trying to make a big. You want actually somebody who's gonna be the devil's advocate, poke holes in it, who's gonna tell you honestly, like, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? What if this happens? And you're like, oh crap, I
didn't think of that.
Like, that's a good point. Like, it's super helpful to get respected advice from other people who maybe have been in your shoes before, who are maybe further along than you have been. Like, what would you have done in my shoes? You know, when you were starting out, it's great to get advice from people
and people that you trust too.
There's so many things you learn in the journey. Like, not that we've been doing this forever, but we have learned a heck of a lot in the last 5 years or more.
I also feel like, too, sometimes you have to be careful, though. Everybody's going to have an opinion. So it doesn't mean, like, go broadcast it out to everybody.
No. I'm saying, like, a trusted sources. A trusted advice. That's what I'm saying. Like, we love doing consulting, right? Because we've been from the bottom. We're our moms. I don't know. I just feel like we've already done so much of the struggle that if we can help somebody else struggle less and just learn from all of the stupid mistakes we already made, like that's the best feeling, because we should be able to learn from one another so we don't always have to make the same mistakes, right? So go to somebody if you're making a big decision who's maybe been in your shoes or is further along than you.
Right. Ask for advice. Just to listen. Get someone else's perspective.
Right.
For sure.
It doesn't mean you have to do it, but
I don't have any other tools, though. Just my coin and my pro-con list. That's really all I got in my toolbox for big decisions.
Big decisions.
And my husband.
Do you feel that like entrepreneurs in general, or do you think that there's like a certain personality type that is more likely to take bigger risks? Like what makes a risk taker?
Smart risk taker. There's difference. You could be dumb. and take bad risks all the time because you don't learn from your mistakes. But I
Yeah.
think people that are successful entrepreneurs are people that are willing to take a risk because they've done the research. They've, solicited feedback from those that they trust, and they're making an educated decision on their risk. And if they fail, they're not afraid of it. They're going to learn from it. Mm-hmm. I think the worst thing, it's like get knocked down 7 times, stand up 8. I get that's the simplest thing for me that I think I would say, because as a leader, and if you're starting a business, you're going to fall down every day. And you're still going to fall down now. Like we still fall down now. Like we had this whole thought and philosophy of like visual merchandising for this year. Genius. We are nailing it. And every day I like hit a different bump, or I walk straight into a wall and like that didn't work. And it's not to give up and be like, well, that's it. Quit. I quit. Just sell everything for free. Like you can't.
You're just in the wrong business if that's what you're doing. Like you should probably just
gotta learn and just say, you know what, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this, and you're gonna get
tenacity.
There. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good word.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Good word.
So we'll keep you posted on our big decisions
and my coin flip results.
Oh gosh. So recapping, be on the lookout for signs because they're out there. Pray about it.
And I'm raising my hand. So this is what I didn't say. When I said, don't worry about anything, but pray about everything. Mm-hmm. The worry is noisy. And if it's too noisy.
The worries are the what ifs.
And it's too noisy. You can't hear. So to your point.
Oh, be quiet.
Quiet.
Remember my quiet walks.
Yeah, quiet. Because when you're praying about it, you're going to pray and you need to be in quiet and you will hear it. You just got to be open to hearing because maybe it's not what you want to hear.
Yeah, and can be used other people too. I mean, other people can.
Yeah.
You can hear it from other people is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
man.
I know, isn't it so fun? Okay, so we're gonna get to our no questions off limits, which is really, it's a really funny one. Do you want to read the question?
What was our most embarrassing or horrific? Horrific? I said horrific. Mm-hmm. Horrific wedding moment.
Right. So obviously, florists and teams, there's bound to be things that are going to happen when you're setting up. And this was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Well, this is my answer, actually. Do you have a different answer?
I have a different one.
You do? Okay,
yeah,
so I'll
when
share.
I almost got kidnapped.
What?
Yeah. On Route 1.
Okay, I don't know that story, but...
In the back of a box truck, Jen and me.
Not really.
No, but it could have happened. We're just not smart of us.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this, I do think this is pretty horrific. It was a wedding of a friend, actually, which is always the worst. Because,
ever.
like, I don't know why it's worse when you just know the bride and you know people attending the wedding.
Never good. Don't do it.
And have to see them, like, again.
And
right?
you're like sweating and setting up and running and all the things.
But we were doing these beautiful floral arches and it was windy and whatever. We decided we were going to secure them with fishing line. We thought we were so genius. We're going to do the fishing line and the stakes. We're going to make these so secure that they're definitely not going to go anywhere. Right. We're very like scrappy. We thought this was a great idea.
So I'm talking about logistics.
But it was a great idea. We did not really inform. Well, you can't tell everybody about what you just did because the bridal party and everybody else is not there yet. So anyway, nobody told the officiant that there was this fishing line there. And so he is in the middle of the vows.
Hold on. You're missing one part though.
What?
Well, you tell this part and I'll tell the
So he's in the middle of the vows. They're literally saying their I do's. He takes a step back or
to the side. I don't know
even know where.
I think to get out of the picture.
Probably to get out of the picture. Anyway, I don't know. I wonder if he tripped.
I don't know.
I bet he literally tripped. What if he fell? I don't know what happened to him. But anyway, he stepped on the line somehow and the whole arch just fell over. And as it was falling over, it knocked over the other arch. So The pictures we got were just these arches just like laying on top of each other in the lawn.
And they were so hard to put together. And so
they were really beautiful, and it just made us feel so terrible and awful because we thought we had done everything in our power to secure them.
Well,
but you can't idiot-proof stuff. Like, what was he doing?
I don't know. Don't walk back there. The best part is we did it. It was all up. It was it was tight. The stakes were perfect. Everything was perfect. I have the coordinator out on the lawn with me, and I explained to her. I show her.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to make sure that you tell the officiant that these are where the stakes are and to not walk over here. Right? She looks at them. Everything's great. I turn around. I walk back. I'm starting to walk towards the van. I'm cleaning up our mess.
Yeah.
And I hear, Diane! And I jump out of my skin. She walked into the fishing line and she knocked it over. And I was like,
oh, right. This was the second time we had set it up because she knocked it over first.
She knocked it over, and I had just showed her everything.
I mean, luckily, that was not during the ceremony, but
I had to go back and fix it. And then, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Did she not relay my message? I have no idea.
So we'll include a picture of that also in the show notes because that's a good picture. Actually, I don't know if you wouldn't know. Now that if you see the picture, you'll know the inside story. But there is a picture of them just laying there. And maybe you wouldn't really notice or know why there's flowers on the ground.
That's awful.
But beautiful wedding.
It was stunning. Wedding was absolutely stunning.
So keep submitting your questions and making us tell embarrassing stories.
Well, I feel like I now have to tell you about my Route 1 story really fast.
Okay.
Because I wasn't almost
I thought
kidnapped.
maybe you'd want to share the other embarrassing part of
No, that's
wedding.
Okay. We had these really heavy centerpieces. The legs snapped. We had to pull over on Route 1. And that was fine. We fixed it all. No big deal. But it was myself and Jen driving the box truck, which, by the way, why am I driving a box truck every time? But Heather gets to drive down in her Bronco, but I'm not allowed to back up a vehicle. But they're going to give me the box truck because Heather wants to drive her Bronco. Whatever. So I pull over on Route 1. And also driving with Jen, I'll give you a quick little, we're braking in 3, 2, okay, red light. Okay, we're going to go right. Okay, wait for green, and it's green. We're going right. Yes, Jen.
This is why I drove so rich.
Yes, Jen, I'm well aware, and it's hilarious. I love her to pieces. But this snaps. We pull over on the side of the road. We both get in the back because we need 2 hands. We're fully loaded.
Yep.
All of a sudden, we hear, you need any help? I almost jumped.
Did you scream?
Yes. Jen I think swore. I screamed. And there was this random guy walking down Route 1 with a duffel bag and a backpack and came up to the back of the... He could have just thrown that back down and taken walked off. The van was running with the keys in it.
Oh my gosh, you could have been dead.
Right? He could have. He didn't have to say anything. He could have come up.
Although that does sound like really movie-esque, but yeah,
could have. I mean, I did get pulled over one time.
That probably was his plan until he saw the 2 of you lunatics and was like, "I'm good."
But no, I mean, I watched Dateline. I know. Bad.
Yeah, I mean, sorry you weren't desirable enough.
You are lucky that I'm still here to sit next to you today. Okay. On that note,
I think you would have escaped. I have no doubt.
100%. I would have thrown myself out. And we both had cell phones. We could have called for help.
True.
He probably noticed that we had a cell phone and was like, can't kidnap them.
I'm glad you thought through all of this. See the pros and cons of decision making. Yeah. All full circle. Okay, so keep your super fun questions coming because
that was a good one.
We love reminiscing about fun old times. So yeah, we've got a special guest coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
That we're really excited about.
And we just secured another one today that will be really fun.
Yeah. So lots of good things coming up. Watch us on YouTube. Like, subscribe,
share,
all the fun things. See you
later.
See you soon.